welcome you to another exciting edition of From the Newspaper this morning, streamed live from the premises of the Estate Hotel, Akbete, IBADAN. Good morning to you all. We are listening to MFM Radio and TV. This is MFM Radio and TV, where we set the agenda and project the truth. And don't forget, you can watch us live on Facebook at MFM Radio and TV. And as you are watching us, please don't forget to like, comment, and share. Remember, don't forget this program is in form of 3 segments. The first segment is the weather forecast report of 3 major cities in Nigeria: the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, the commercial city of Lagos, and the vibrant city of Ibadan. Where the second segment on this show is the headlines, make round of Nigerian newspaper, and as usual, always bring 4 newspapers to you every morning. The first newspaper is the Punch newspaper, the Vanguard newspaper, the Guardian newspaper, and the Nigerian Tribune. Where the last segment on the show is the details to the headlines. My name is Shakiro Akinyemi. So moving on to the first segment on the show this morning, which is the weather forecast report. And the first city I'm bringing on this morning is the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. At 10 a.m. in Abuja this morning, it's partly sunny with 28 degrees Celsius. At 11 a.m. it's partly sunny with 29 degrees Celsius. At 12 p.m. it's mostly sunny with 31 degrees Celsius. At 1 p.m. it's mostly sunny with 32 degrees Celsius. At 2 p.m. it's mostly sunny with 33 degrees Celsius. At 3 p.m. is mostly sunny with 34 degrees Celsius. At 4 p.m. is mostly sunny with 34 degrees Celsius. At 5 p.m. is partly sunny with 33 degrees Celsius. At 6 p.m. is partly sunny with 32 degrees Celsius. At 7 p.m. is intermittent cloud with 31 degrees Celsius. At 8 p.m. is intermittent cloud with 29 degrees Celsius. At 9 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 29 degrees Celsius. At 10 p.m. is cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius. And at 11 p.m. is cloudy with 27 degrees Celsius.
Audio Jungle.
At 10 a.m. in the commercial city of Lagos this morning is mostly sunny with 30 degrees Celsius. At 11 a.m. is intermittent cloud with 31 degrees Celsius. At 12 p.m. is mostly sunny with 32 degrees Celsius. At 1 p.m. is mostly sunny with 32 degrees Celsius. And at 2 p.m. is mostly sunny with 33 degrees Celsius. At 3 p.m. is intermittent cloud with 33 degrees Celsius. At 4 p.m. is mostly sunny with 32 degrees Celsius. At 5 p.m. is mostly sunny with 32 degrees Celsius. At 6 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 31 degrees Celsius. At 7 p.m. is mostly clear with 30 degrees Celsius. And at 8 p.m. is partly cloudy with 29 degrees Celsius. At 9 p.m. is
Audio Jungle.
So moving on to the last city on the first segment this morning, which is the vibrant city of Ibadan, where we are transmitting live from. At 10 a.m. in Ibadan this morning is intermittent cloud with 29 degrees Celsius. At 11 a.m. is intermittent cloud with 31 degrees Celsius. At 12 p.m. is partly sunny with 33 degrees Celsius. At 1 p.m. is mostly sunny with 33 degrees Celsius. At 2 p.m. is partly sunny with 34 degrees Celsius. At 3 p.m. is intermittent cloud with 35 degrees Celsius. At 4 p.m. is cloudy with 34 degrees Celsius. At 5 p.m. is thunderstorm with 33 degrees Celsius. At 6 p.m. is thunderstorms with 31 degrees Celsius. At 7 p.m. is cloudy with 29 degrees Celsius. At 8 p.m. is cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius. And at 9 p.m. is cloudy with 26 degrees Celsius. At 10 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 26 degrees Celsius. At 11 p.m. is cloudy with 26 degrees Celsius. One has the details to that story. Still on Punch newspaper, another story says 78,000 Cameroonians order salt asylum in Nigeria, and page 24 has the details to that story. Obi Abure cram crash over panel neck meeting, and page 2 has the details to that story. Another story says Sanga as police disrupts protest, deploy chopper, and page 2 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
My selection as Alaafin Divine, not political, says Oba Wade, and page 7 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
And second to last story on the Punch newspaper this morning says 4 arrested as JAMB uncover 585 fake A-level certificates, and page 7 has the details to that story. And last story on the Punch newspaper this morning says friends mourn 4 gospel artists killed in Ogun accident, and page 4 has the details to that story. To the Guardian newspaper, and the latest story on the Guardian newspaper this morning says police protesters clash in Abuja, Port Harcourt, and page 5 has the details to that story. Three riders to that story. The first rider says Rivers police denies firing tear gas as protesters arrest journalists. Another rider says protest in Lagos, Osun peaceful. Minister backs protest once against destruction of national infrastructure, and page 5 has the details to that stories. Other story on the Vanguard newspaper says Vanguard Economic Discourse hosts tomorrow, and page 19 has the details to that story. Global tariff war. Federal government will review impact on Nigeria, says Edun, and page 19 has the details to that story. One rider to the story. The rider says US, China as daggers draw as Trump threatened Beijing with extra 50% tariff, and page 8 have the details to that story. Still on Vanguard newspaper, another story says Labour Party crisis. Abure, Obi, Oti, Somon parallel neck meeting, and page 9 has the details to that story. Peter Side Charles Vanguard Personality of the Year Award, and page 8 has the details to that story. And the last story on the Vanguard newspaper this morning says, Afebolola to NAS, stop approving substandard varsities, and page 10 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Moving on to the third newspaper, which is the Guardian newspaper, and the latest story on the Guardian newspaper this morning says, Trump's trade war fuels recession war. This puts federal government 55 trillion naira fiscal plan, and page 6 has the details to that story. Another story says, Obi list charge as Labour Party enters make or break shutdown, and page 3 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Still on Guardian newspaper, another story says, 2025 Hajj. Confusion as federal government debunks report on Saudi entry ban on Nigeria and 13 others, and page 3 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Bandits killed 4, abduct 45 in Castina Local Council, and page 8 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Another story on the Guardian newspaper this morning says, Amnesty International demand probe into police assault as protesters want cybercrime act repealed, and page 6 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
We will engender better modern police force, Tinubu plead, and page 9 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Presidency of PELU of $1 billion CNG investment by year end, and page 4 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Still on Guardian newspaper, another story says, End killings, insecurity across state, Falana tells federal government, and page 6 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
And last story on the Guardian newspaper this morning says, Europe pays €300 million to support Nigeria's fight against terrorism, and page 4 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
So moving on to the last newspaper on the second segment this morning, which is the Nigerian Tribune. And the latest story on Nigerian Tribune this morning says, Youth divide police warning, stage protest in Lagos, Abuja, Rivers, Ibadan and others. And page 6 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Story on Nigerian Tribune this morning says, Pioneer legacy for global advancement, honor Awolowo Dosunmu, and page 3 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Labour Party crisis, Abure's leadership. Plateau killings, military to deploy more troops to troubled communities. And there's one reader to the story that says, JN High condemns killings, and page 4 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Another story says, Saudi ban, Nigeria not affected, says federal government, and page 30 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
UBEC disburses 22 billion naira to state for training of 224,000 teachers, and page 4 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
CNG, federal government attracts $491 million investment, unveil plan to expand penetration in 30 states, and page 3 has the details to that story. Another story on Nigerian Tribune this morning says, APC governors visit Buhari in Kaduna, 6 parties table ahead of 2027, and page 15 has the analysis to that story.
Audio Jungle.
And the last story on Nigerian Tribune this morning says, Nigeria under pressure, aimed global tariff tension, and page 25 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
And there are 3 riders to their story. The first rider says, operator predicts low earning for Nigeria, cheaper petrol pump price as the oil price crash. The other rider says, economic management seems to reveal all scenarios, advise federal government, says financial minister. And last rider says effect on exports will be negligible, and page 25 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Alright, so we have come to the end of the second segment of the show this morning. Before we divert into the last segment, let's go on a break. Stay tuned, I'll be right back.
Audio Jungle.
ìgbà tó tó gbá ní í ṣe baálé ọba gbọ́migbọ́mi kọ̀ǹkọ̀ tó tún kọ̀ǹkọ̀ ní í ṣe ọba wọn lálẹ́ odò bó jẹ́ tìròyìn tó pójú owó orin tó dùn ún gbọ́ létí àṣà ẹ̀fẹ̀ àtàwọn ọ̀rọ̀ ìṣítí lọ́lọ́kanjọ̀kan ìkànnì MFM rédíò ọba ló jẹ́ láwùjọ rédíò.
gbogbo náà gbogbo bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe sọ ní gbọ́ tọ́ba wọn fẹ́ gbọ́ mi dáadáa tó o sì fẹ́ máa yí lọ́wọ́ dáadáa AMFM and TV oníkọ́ lọ tọ́ba ti débẹ̀ gbogbo ló ti rà á.
ṣé bí lọ́dọ̀ àwọn kan ti ń tàlẹ́ ìlú ọ̀nà.
o ti sọ wọ́n gbowó ṣé o ti gbọ́n pa ilé ìtajà Starland Homes Wear Enterprise ó kù nígbà rọ̀gùdù eléyìí tó dojúkọ ilé ìfowópamọ́ Keystone Bank agbègbè Àbáyọ̀mí Ìwòrò nílẹ̀ Ìbàdàn báwo lẹ ṣe fẹ́ sí àwọn ilẹ̀kùn ayẹta àwọn táìtì tí ó gbóhùn iyì àti ẹwà bá ilé àwọn àgbá orin lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan moving sheet eléyìí tí ó gbé àwòrán ilé jáde àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ gbogbo rẹ̀ ló wà lójú kan náà lọ́dọ̀ Starland Homes Wear Enterprise fún gbogbo kọ́lékọ́lé àti àgbàlékọ́ gbogbo àwọn ohun èlò ilé eléyìí tí ó sọ ní ìrẹ́dì àwòdámi ẹnu ọ̀dọ̀ Starland Homes Wear Enterprise ní ilé àkàsí yìí ẹ pè sórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yìí 0708-760-5119 lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí 0708-760-5119 Starland Homes Wear Enterprise fún ojúlówó àwọn èròjà ilé tó ní owó lójú.
So welcome back to the show. It's still from the newspaper. Don't forget you can watch us live on Facebook at AMFM Radio and TV. As you are watching us, please don't forget to like, comment and share. We are now in the last segment on the show this morning, which is the details to the headlines. And the first story I'm bringing on this morning says, Obi Abure crab clash over parallel neck meeting. The leadership tension in the Labour Party took a dramatic twist on Monday after the Julius Abure lead National Executive Committee of the Labour Party announced the removal of Honourable Afam Ogene as Labour Party Council's leader in the House of Representatives over his involvement in anti-activities. The NEC also voted to direct the disciplinary committee to sanction the Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Peter Obi, and Abia State Governor Alex Otti, if they go ahead with their planned stakeholder engagement on Wednesday, as well as the other activities that may undermine the party. The development was announced in the communique read to the journalists by the Labour Party National Secretary Alhaji Umar Farouk at the end of the NEC meeting held at the Party National Secretariat in Abuja. Earlier, both Abure and Obi simultaneously called for the separate meeting of the National Executive Committee to discuss the future of the party following Friday judgment by the Supreme Court. While Abure's NEC was held at the national headquarters on Monday, Obi and Governor Alex Otti moved to their stakeholders submit to the Wednesday to a yet-to-be-named venue. The foreign parties made a summons in a separate statement made available to the Punch. Barely an hour after Abure's invite was released, Obi and Otti also sent the invitation, calling for stakeholder engagement. In that way, believed was a quarter move to sway the loyalty of their supporters. The statement signed by the Obi spokesperson, Ibrahim Umar, partly read, the two leading figures of the Labour Party, the 2023 presidential flag, Barrier Peter Obi and the sole state governor of the party, Alex Otti, and Abia State, have summoned the National Executive Committee of the party in Abuja on Wednesday, April 9, 2025. The atmosphere as far as the Labour Party headquarters was quite tense following its arrival of the 3 police patrol van and the presence of 50 suspected miscreants milling around the presence of the NEC meeting. The real firework were to follow when, after the end of the National Executive Committee submit, Farouk announced the sack of the Rep Caucus leader. In a place, follow Launeka Honourable Etabeni was appointed as the new leader, while mandating Abure Ogene incurred with the runs of the party when they backed the Inandi Usman lead National Caretaker Committee after hailing Friday judgment of the Supreme Court. After Ogene's sanction, the NEC justified his efforts functionalize the party leadership by calling an illegal next schedule to be held on Wednesday. Meanwhile, the spokesperson of the Usman Lead Caretaker Committee, Tony Akeni, has expressed dismay about the sacking of Ogene and the immediate appointment of Etanabeni. While lamenting the next action, Akeni warned that Abure and his loyalty will live to regret the action once the tables turned. And the details of the news is on Punch newspaper.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Another story says, anger as police disrupts protest deploy chopper. Police operative on Monday disrupted the protest organized by the Take It Back movement over the proclamation of the state of emergency in Rivers State, the alleged misuse of the Cybercrime Act and the hardship in the country. The attack on the protesters triggered condemnation from the various groups, including Amnesty International. The country director, Amnesty International Nigeria, Issa Sanusi, said he showed that the government was not willing to listen to Nigerians. He criticized the action as a serious violation of human rights, stressing that the people have the right to assemble and associate with them. The executive director, Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Central, Musa Rafsanjani, also berated the security agencies over the crackdown. The demonstration, which began as early as 7 a.m., was truncated by the security operative who fired their gas in the participants in Abuja and Port Harcourt, Rivers State. The protesters in Lagos similarly had a This led to significant traffic congestion in the affected areas and across the state to prevent a breakdown of law and order. Concerned the demonstrators restored the street protection. The Lagos state government admonished them to comply with the recent court ruling. The street protest to under designated location within the state. In a statement on Monday by the Director of Public Affairs at the Lagos State Ministry of Justice, Mrs. Grace Alo, the government reaffirmed its recognition of the citizen fundamental rights to peaceful assembly and association, but warned that such rights must be exercised lawfully with respect for the public safety. Referring to a judgment by the Lagos High Court delivered on January 30, 2025, the government noted that protests within Lagos are now legally restricted in Gani, Fawahimi, Freedom Park in Ojota, and Peace Park in Ketu. In the Port Harcourt, there was also a confrontation between the protest participants and the security agents, comprising the arms, police and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. The protesters waved a placard with slogans such as "Stop the Repression" and "Let us breathe." The protesters led the coordinators of the Take It Back movement in the River State. King Ameni arrived at Isiaq Buru Park at about 9 a.m., but the operative called them short, saying they did not have permission to use the facility. An unidentified officer who addressed them ordered them to move to the federal secretariat instead. After some break and forth, the demonstrators marched toward the CFG junction along Aba Road, where they had been crossed by the large number of police operatives who asked them to break up their rally. Provoked by the attitude of the protesters, the operative fired tear gas canisters, also shot live bullets in the air, sending everyone running for safety. The operative was seen assaulting the Channel TV correspondent, Charles Okporu, who had later bundled their vehicle and seized the camera of all the AIT's crew. The police spokesperson, Grace Irena Koko, in the statement stated, "The command wishes to categorically clarify that the reports unfolded upon receiving the intelligence regarding the protest. Their office were promptly deployed to the specified location." One of the coordinators of the Take It Back movement, Victor Lijofi, called on federal government to immediately reappeal the Cybercrime Act, which he said was beginning to use the suppressed free speech. Reports from the Kogo and Okwetu, the other two unpacked centrals in Benue State, indicate that the rally did not take place in anticipation for the protest. The state police command deployed officers across the state. The situation was not different in Kogi State, which recorded no demonstration. Kano residents went about their daily activities without disruption, while the traffic was normal in Kofa Nasarawa, Sabogari, and Farm Central, with a visible deployment of the additional security forces. Mustafa Salisu Yakubu, 28, a resident of Kabuga, said he was not aware of the protest, citing concern over the potential.
Audio Jungle.
Story says, "My selection as Alaafin divine, not political," says Oba Uwade. The newly installed Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Hakeem Uwade, has said neither knew nor met Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde or former Senator Monsurasu Monu before his selection as the 46th Alaafin. He made this known during his Thanksgiving service held at Anglican Cathedral Church, Esele, Oyo Town on Sunday. The monarchy said his emergency was divinely orderly and not resort to the political connection or influence. This was contained in a statement by the Director of the Media and Publicity, Bode Durojaye, in Ibadan, the state capital, on Monday. The Punch reported that Oba Wade, who was presented with the staff of office and instruments of the office on Monday, January 13, 2025, at the Governor office in Ibadan, ascended the throne after the late Oba Adeyemi joined his ancestors. The new monarchy completed the compulsory 21 days traditional rite, known as Oro Ikpebi, on March 29. Oba Wade therefore extended his hand of the fellowship to those who are constituted against him for the stool, urging them to join their hands with him in the transforming the town to enviable heights. Wade pleased to follow through the promises and maintain ethnical standards in order to foster an environment where people feel secure and valued, encouraging open communication and collaboration. Delivering his sermon, the former president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend Supo Ayokunle, urged the Alaafin to be more courageous, always seek the divine guidance on the throne in order to surmount impending obstacles. He stressed that courage and bravery are essential qualities of a good leader. Buhari's loyalties, from the APC to the Social Democratic Party. First to defeat was former Kaduna State Governor Naro El-Rufai, who claimed to have obtained Buhari's blessing to dump the APC. Mid-March Sunday Punch reported that some former ministers who served in Buhari's cabinet were perfecting plans to move a massive to SDP. In the Buhari's Katsina home state, some members of the APC have defected to the SDP. However, Uzodinma said on Monday's visit by the APC governor to Buhari signified a show of unity and strength within the ruling party. He described Buhari as the father of the politics and expressed gratitude to God for the opportunity to meet him in good health. He said after the Ramadan, Lent and Eid al-Fitr celebration, they have demanded it necessary to pay homage to the former president who served 8 years under the APC. Uzodinma said they have come to pay former President Muhammadu Buhari a courtesy visit. To know the former President Buhari is the only former president produced by the APC. Kaduna State Governor Uba Sani commended Buhari for supporting President Bola Tinubu and the APC. Punch correspondents report that the APC governors had a closed-door meeting with the former President Buhari where they discussed various issues affecting the party and the country, and the details of the news is on Punch newspaper.
Audio Jungle.
To the tune of $668.8 million. The naira depreciated by 2.4% and 2.6% in March at both Nigeria. The report concluded. Already the CBN of Nigeria has stated that the Nigeria has flared the impact of global microeconomic shifts set by the new tariff imposed by the U.S. President Donald Trump. In a statement signed by Director of Financial Market Department Omolaradu K, the Apex Bank stated that recent movement in the foreign exchange market between April 3rd and 4th, 2025 may inject about $1,107.71 million through the sales of authorized dealers on Friday into forex market. The dollar sold to 1,419 and 1,495.20 naira per dollar. According to the analyst, all authorized dealers are reminded the highest strictly to principle outlined in Nigeria forex market code and to uphold the highest standard in their dealing with the clients, and the market's counterpart Duke said. In the past week, the naira recorded heightened volatility at the interbank Nigerian foreign exchange market. Earlier in the week, it reminded the relatively stable, trading between 1,528 to 1,535 per dollar. On the bank to consistent CBN support and 28 to 1,435 per dollar. On the bank to consistent CBN support and the moderate shift-hold inflow. However, the mid-buying the OPEC plus supply hike in global risk of sentiment driven by Trump's tariff announcement. Global risk of sentiment, driven by Trump's tariff announcement. This leads to strong forex demand, pressure on limited supply, pushing the naira to as high as 1,570 naira per dollar. Despite CBN intervention, the naira depreciated by 1.97% to close at 1,567.2 per dollar, and the foreign reserve declined by 1,149 million. Event said the pressure may be compounded due to the stoppage of the firm that Nigerian forex market has been negatively affected. By offshore investors flighting to safety the increasing domestic dollars. Demand puts pressure on the naira, and the details of the news is on Punch newspaper.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Alright, so before moving on again, let's go on a short break. Stay tuned, I'll be right back.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
MFM oníkẹ́mọ́ gbọ́ òjò mọ́ mi àtọkùnrin wa àtobìnrin wa ẹ̀lẹ́ o gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọkùnrin wa ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́ o gbogbo ẹ̀yin obìnrin wa ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́ o MFM oníkẹ́mọ́ gbọ́ o ẹ̀yin ọkùnrin wa ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́ o MFM oníkẹ́mọ́ gbọ́ oníkẹ́mọ́ wò lórí Instagram lórí Facebook oníkẹ́mọ́ gbọ́ òjòmọ́ mi ẹ wá wo ìṣẹ́nu ọ̀pánábá ẹ wá wo rẹ̀ sísè láwùjọ òjò gbogbo nǹkan náà gbé wá bẹ̀ gbogbo eré ládùnládùn gbogbo tó lóyún tó bá ronú tó pàrònú tì MFM oníkẹ́mọ́ gbọ́ olólùfẹ́ mi ẹ̀yọ́ rẹ wá ọkọ sọ fúnyàwó rẹ MFM oníkẹ́mọ́ gbọ́ ẹ̀míkẹ́mọ́ gbọ́ ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n mi MFM ooo ìrẹ́rìn lónìí gbò ìrẹ́fọ́n ló lọ́ọ̀dún gbogbo etí tó ń gbọ́ mi ní tilẹ̀ tó kò lẹ́yìn odi MFM ní ká máa lò sí o torí wọ́n jẹ́ ẹni tó níbẹ̀rù Ọlọ́run lọ́kàn gidi gan-an ni ẹ bá wọn dòwò pọ̀ kẹ́ ẹ lè jàǹfààní wọn ni èmi èjìrí ọ̀kí ló ń kéde léyìí sí gbogbo etí ọmọ aráyé pátápátá ẹ jẹ́ bá MFM dòwò pọ̀ ká lè sórí ire nìtọ́rẹ́ ní tá a bá ń fẹ́ lélẹ́dùmarè máa fẹ́.
So welcome back to the show. It's still from the newspaper. EFCC now fraudster buying bank accounts. The operative of the Economic and Financial Crime Commission have arrested one Olawale Sunday, a suspected internet fraudster accused of purchasing bank accounts, details from individuals to perpetrate financial crimes. A statement on Monday by the EFCC head of media and publicity, Dele Oyewale, said Sunday's fraudster scheme involved recruiting young individuals to open multi-bank accounts. Oyewale alleged that Sunday paid them between 25,000 and 50,000 for each account and collected their full bank details, including automated teller machine card. He said trouble began when Sunday allegedly used his account details of one of Uye Osoha to fraud an unsuspecting victim of 2 million naira under the pretense of engaging in forex trading. Oyewale said Egusa was arrested and during the interrogation claimed ignorance of the fraudulent use of the account. He added that Egusa had told investigators that they handed over his account details and ATM card to Sunday in exchange for 25,000 payments. Oyewale added that Sunday, upon his alert, he confessed to the crime and would be charged to court as soon as investigations were completed. And details of the news is on Punch newspaper.
Audio Jungle.
Police burst Lagos baby factory, rescued 10 victims. The Lagos State Police Command had discovered a baby factory in Ijegun area of the state of rescued 10 people. 3 suspected were also arrested. The spokesperson of command, Benjamin Hudeyin, shared this with the report on Monday, where he said their illegal activities was exposed after the police received a tip-off last Sunday. A state officer quickly went to the location and arrested the main suspect, Mariam